Welcome to the Sports Betting Podcast from pregame.com for the week of October 29th, 2009. I'm your host, RJ Bell. I'm joined by Marco D'Angelo, 30 years in the business, Vegas runner, genuine professional bettor here in Vegas. This is segment 6 of 6 this week, Monday Night Football. Vegas runner, give us the line report on this game.
All right, this one opened up. New Orleans is a 9-point home favorite with a total of 54. As of this morning, they have moved up to a 10-point home favorite, and the total's 54.5.
All right, so this New Orleans team has become, some people believe, the best team in the NFL. Now, actually, and we've got to pat ourselves on the back a little bit, you had a future bet on New Orleans.
A five-star future
of the
year.
Five-star future bet of the year.
Biggest bet I made.
At 22-1?
Yep.
Now, unless I'm mistaken, it's down to 5-1?
Yep.
All right.
Not bad.
Not bad.
You got down on it, too.
You know, I did. I actually like New Orleans. When I was on ESPN in L.A., I do the weekly spot there, as you guys know, at 4 o'clock on the Mason Ireland show, and we talk sports betting. A week before the season, I went to them with 4 different teams to have a future bet on, and they picked New Orleans with me, so we had New Orleans too there. So, all right, as a handicapper, because that's what this show is about, what is the one factor that this game is going to hinge on, and give us an answer about it?
You've got to decide if Atlanta can trade points with this New Orleans offense, because they're not stopping this offense. They're going to have to trade points with them, and that's going to be a tall task, considering New Orleans has scored 45 or more in 4 of their 6 games this year.
All right, so what you're saying is this is an example where the only way you beat New Orleans is beat them in a shootout.
That's what you're going to have to, with this Atlanta team, because they don't have a dominant defense. I mean,
all right, so does Atlanta have a chance to keep it close? Or are they going to score enough points to keep it close based upon what you see to be the handicap of the game?
Really, I don't think that Matt Ryan can trade points with Drew Brees.
He didn't seem very sure about that, did he? It was like he was on the witness stand. All right, let's Vegas run.
I'll tell you what, I like Matt Ryan. He's having a good year, man. 63% completions. He's doing good. For no sophomore jinx there. I agree with you too. They're going to do whatever they want offensively. When you look at this Atlanta team, they're mediocre. That's my key point. This is a fake 4-2 team. They're 26th against the pass, 23rd against the run. They have 0 defense. The biggest handicap for this game for me is, when I dug into this, is Atlanta is playing their 4th road game in 5 weeks. This team's got to be tired. And the last thing you want to be is, when you're playing the Saints, is tired. Because this offense is going to run you up and down the field.
That's a good point. Now, let's think. Now, have they had a bye in those weeks?
They've played 6 games.
They had a bye
early.
They were one of the teams that had a bye
All
early.
right, so you're saying fatigue issues with Atlanta,
for sure,
which is especially bad against New Orleans. Now, here's my question. We know New Orleans right now is a team with a premium on them. The public loves certain types of teams, and explosive offensive teams. They feel very comfortable betting them. Remember, typically, if something is hard to bet, if it's painful, it means it's a good bet. If it's easy, betting Mike Tyson at 40-1 against Buster Douglas was easy. If it's easy, it's usually the wrong bet. You're paying a premium. So New Orleans typically is the team I want to fade. Unfortunately, I had Miami last week and took a really bad beat. We had it up in the forums too. You want to fade them, but if they're playing a team which is overrated in your mind, now you got 2 overrated teams. Atlanta's a little overrated, and New Orleans, though a great team, is a little overrated. So that causes me pause.
Yeah, Atlanta's been outgained in 4 of their 6 games. This team's 4-2, and I'm telling you, they're not getting it done by strength and skill. I don't know why everybody's talking about how good this Atlanta team is. I really haven't seen it at all.
I'll tell you how bad their defense is. They made Romo look like a good quarterback.
A great quarterback.
And actually, you just mentioned my second loser on Sunday, is I actually had Atlanta in Dallas. I got to tell you right now, this Dallas team, I'm not sure how good they are, but to dominate
like that,
or to win convincingly against Atlanta, makes me question this Atlanta team.
I think you have to, RJ. I mean, you're looking at a 4-2 record, and they're getting more than 10 points. Who knows where it's going to get?
And don't forget, I'm sorry, and I'll let you jump in next, Marco. Is this Atlanta team was projected, if I recall, to win less than 9 games. This was one of the teams with Miami that was clearly projected to fall back to earth. And this start seems to be deceiving in that, oh, maybe they are as good as they were last year. But you're saying inside the numbers, that's not the case.
It's not the case. And let's not forget, although New Orleans, yes, they're 6-0, so every game's important to them now that they're talking about the undefeated season and all. But this is their first division game. And, I mean, sure, they're going to win the division, so it won't mean as much at the end of the season. But you're still going to show up more for them divisional games. You want to beat up the guy you're meeting twice.
Well, I'll give you more reasons why they're going to show up. Handicapping, to go back to last week's game, in the Miami, that made sense last week betting Miami because you had New Orleans coming off their biggest game of the year. It was the legitimizer.
They had played the Giants.
Played the Giants, dominated the Giants, and virtually were crowned the NFC champions after that dominating performance. So they went on the road to play Miami. That was a flat spot. They came out slow, which that's what happens when you're flat. But yet they were a good enough team that in the second half to make the adjustments, come out and work their way back into the game and take control of that game in the second half.
Which I think, and sorry to jump in a second, but I think that creates a sense of invincibility with New Orleans batters. Imagine if you had New Orleans down by 21, laying 7, and you still cover. You're like, this is like free money.
Yeah, you can't lose back in this team.
But they've got a rare Monday night home game. New Orleans doesn't get Monday night home games. So you're going to have a jacked up crowd Monday night for New Orleans
to showcase the best team in the NFL.
You know, so this team's going to come out fired up. You're going to get an effort on Monday night, almost what you got against the Giants, mental wise, from the New Orleans team.
And this is a situation that freezes me. Is you got 2 overrated teams, so let's call that a wash. And when we say overrated, it's all about the line. New Orleans might be the best team in football, but they're not quite as good, I think, as the lines makers and the bettors are making them out to be. You've got an Atlanta team, which I agree with you is overrated. So now the question is, how do you play it? And then you add in the fact that New Orleans is going to have a very definite home field. You know, I have the slightest lean towards New Orleans. Now, on the total, I like New Orleans is great on offense, and I agree with Marco. If Atlanta's going to be in this game at all, they're going to have to score. Yeah. So then I like the over, but you know there's a premium on the over. So this is really a situation where the handicap and the inherent premiums are on the same side, which causes me typically to pass.
54.5, and he'll probably get to 55, if not higher, by game
on a Monday
time,
night game.
On an NFL game. I mean, usually they stop at 51, and you'll see 51.5, 52 tops. But to get up to the 55 range, you're paying a high premium.
You gotta wonder maybe, and I'm just talking off the top of my head, maybe New Orleans in the first half here, right? You know you're going to be laying less than a touchdown. And that home field is probably going to mean more at the beginning.
Right.
You know, maybe it's New Orleans in the first quarter.
That's it's a good point. First quarter or first half bet, because if they do get a big lead, they could get complacent in the second half and get that Atlanta backdoor cover.
I'd say first half, because first quarter, Atlanta's going to go in with the mindset, let's weather the storm, let's slow everything down, let's get the crowd out of it. They're not going to want to trade points with them off the bat.
Interesting over-under stat.
Last point
on New Orleans. Following a win, when they win a game, in their next game, they've gone over 15 of 20.
15 of 20 off a win, which the rationale behind that would be they get a little lackadaisical and play a little weaker on D.
Or you can just say that
I try to think
clean.
through the trends.
But that one, in years past, that would be, because this definitely 20 games goes back a couple years.
A couple lessons here. One is, if you don't like a game, especially on Monday night, either play a small amount that doesn't mean anything to you or pass. Number 2, we might have a slight lean towards New Orleans in the first half. If you don't have that option, go to pregameaction.com, get the best deals from the most trusted sports books out there. Okay, this is segment 6 of 6. That's it for this week. We'll be back next week with a whole new set of big games. And remember, if you want to watch all the videos, go to pregame.tv. Or if you want to download and listen, just go to iTunes and search for pregame.com.